Hello, how are you guys today? Hope you're having a good day. It's been a really hot day here in California, Kern County, where I'm at. Uh, this whole week has been over 104, and by the end of the week, we expect 110 to 111. The heat really takes a toll on everybody, especially the chicken. Um, that's not what I wanted to talk about today. Actually, what I wanted to talk about is what to do when we have or we suspect that we have a sick chicken. And let me start off again before I get into it by saying that I'm no expert. I don't know much about anything, especially chicken. And the things I'm going to say here are just personal points of view, opinions, and nothing more. When I make any mention about cockfighting and sparring chickens, it all has to do with back when illegal. Um, and the chickens that I have are for my kids to show with our association and to qualify for ribbons based on good breeding practices and other things like that. Anyway, I get really worried. Not really worried, but I worry enough that I take precautions seriously when I notice or I suspect that one of the chickens is sick. And typically you can tell because they start sulking. They just look different. You can see it in their eyes. They don't eat their food. They start to leave things behind. They roost. They're up on the roost during the daytime when the rest of them are down on the ground, curious and doing things. Uh, they appear to be sleeping, with other ones are very active. There's many signs you can tell by their poop. But anyway, what to do when you suspect that you have a sick chicken? So one of the first things that I do is I take it out of the pen and I grab it physically and I hold it in my hands, and I can immediately tell, or I can suspect that something might be wrong just by the weight, how much flesh is on their breast, because I handle them a lot. But I still weigh them. I take them over to the scale, and I put them on the scale, and I write that weight down, because since I don't weigh them daily, but the one that I suspect that could be sick, or I know that is, I take note of his weight. I write that down. Another thing that I do is I check his temperature. I don't just trust my hands to detect how hot or how cold the animal is. I get a baby thermometer and I stick it in the anus. And here's the trick though, that as far as I know, chicken temperatures, an adult chicken temperature, there isn't a precise one like with humans, with mammals I should say, where as far as I know also humans should be at 98.6. Now chickens, from the little that I know and that I've read, an adult chicken, it varies between a range of 105 to 107. So that being said, if a particular chicken's range is at 105 and the first time, and you don't know this, and the first time you check its temperature it's at 106 or 107, it could have a 1 degree fever or a 2 degree fever. But that doesn't really matter for our purposes. I mean, it does, but all we need to do is figure out an average. So that day that we weighed it and took note of its weight, we also take its temperature and take note of the temperature. And we do this daily, keeping an eye on it, so we can figure out a range of what the temperature should be. If tomorrow it's at 105 again and it still feels hot to us, and in addition it's showing other symptoms like it's not eating well, the feces is loose, it's not crowing, the eyes are tired, the sulking, then, not being a doctor, my opinion would be that it probably does have a fever. But since I don't really know, and I'm not going to take them to a vet, I don't give them anything for the fever. But I imagine that if there is a fever, it's due to some sort of an infection, viral, bacterial, and I don't really have to know. The point is that I'm going to give them a broad spectrum antibiotic. And I buy this. It's really affordable. It's called Valcine. It's made in Mexico, and you can find this at most of the feed stores here in the area where I live. But it doesn't have to be this. It can be any broad spectrum antibiotic, even if it's human. If it's the human kind, I dilute it in water, like I did here. This is the Valcine. I'm mistaken, but I've diluted other human antibiotics the same way. And then I use a syringe with a little tube on it, and I never give them more than 5 milliliters, even if I suspect that they may need more, or that 5 milliliters may be a little too much or a little too less. It's worked out very safely for me, on the recommendation of a dear friend that's been mentoring me with these chicken. I give them 5 milliliters in the morning and 5 in the evening, the first 3 days that I suspect that he's sick. And let's say that he doesn't have any bacterial infection, it's not going to hurt him. You know, I'm trying to help you guys out. Maybe I'm steering you wrong, but these are things that I learned from friends who, like me, cannot afford to take the chicken to a veterinarian, and who, like me, don't have any veterinarian knowledge. So we've learned the old way. And I also administer one of these gummy vitamins. Now, you could go out and buy the expensive game fowl vitamins, the expensive game fowl antibiotics, and they're going to work great. I'm not putting them down. But I use these products because they're reliable. I've had success with them, and they're very affordable, and you can find them just about anywhere. Try and find the really good game fowl antibiotics when you really need them. Sometimes you don't have them, and on top of it, they're expensive, and they are good. But anyway, the point here is to learn what you can do when you don't have the best options, and I don't always have them. So for the first 3 days, you do the antibiotics in the morning and in the evening. On the 4th day, you go down to 1 dose, and you can choose morning or evening, but you got to stick to it. I give the antibiotic for a total of 5 days, and I keep monitoring depending on if I see that there is an infection. Sometimes you can see them, you know, there's swelling, there's pus in there, but if it's not a visible in infection, and like I said, I don't even know if there is one. Those are just measures that I take, and I've never had problems. So, to put everything in simple words, you don't always have to know what's wrong with your chicken, because 9 out of 10 times it's some sort of an infection that can be dealt with a good antibiotic. So whether you know or not what's affecting it, give it an antibiotic immediately. And it's real important that you stick to the same time that you administer. And when you think that you've cured them, give them 2 or 3 days more. It's not going to hurt them. It's just 5 ml, which is a very low dose of the Valcine right here. And then I give them one of these gummies daily while they're on the antibiotic. Another thing that you can do to check, you know, is when you have them in your hand. This one's still molting, and you know, I don't mind picking my chicken up when they molt, but you can check the quality of their blood health in the bloodline that you can usually see here, his is really faint. Like I said, he's still molting. So a lot of the blood goes into the feathering and into other processes. And I don't supplement with anything. I'm not looking for my chicken to be red-faced during the molt. I consider it a natural process. I allow it to happen, to take its course, and they're good to go once they're done feathering out. But another thing you do is right here, right below his eyeball, you pull down on that skin, and when they're in optimal health, you should see hardly no white. Let me get close so you can see. Now, you might see some white in him. Like I said, he's still molting. I don't supplement with anything. I don't increase his food. I don't increase anything. All the chicken eat 12% feed, and then I supplement with a thing called feather fixer that, in my opinion, brings it up to 15. See? Now, there is a little bit of white, but you see how quick it turns red. Now, if he wasn't molting, or if he was molting, but I supplemented, when you do that, you'd see red or hardly any of the white. But if you do that and it takes a long time to turn red, there's something wrong with his blood, which means there's a deficiency. And like I said, I mean, I don't have to know what's causing the deficiency necessarily, because it's always going to have to do 9 out of 10 times with a deficient diet or some sort of infection that a good antibiotic is going to take care of. And if you happen to administer antibiotics and a gummy and a vitamin gummy when he didn't really need it, it's not going to hurt anything. If anybody else has any ideas and suggestions on how to self-diagnose our chicken, please help me out. Give me some more ideas. Oh, before I forget, another thing I do is I open their beaks and I smell. A chicken shouldn't have bad breath. You should smell in there, and it should just smell like nothing. Shh. We shouldn't say, oh, it smells like chicken breath, or it smells like chicken throat, or like chicken, because a healthy chicken doesn't have bad breath. It just, I don't know, I can't describe it. So the quality of the eyes and so many other things, like I'm telling you guys, I'm new. I don't know much, and I'm here not to teach anybody, but to learn from you guys. And I hope that I can get some opinions, and I'm going to put them to practice. Enjoy the rest of your day. Before I go, I'm going to show you this 4-month stag here. He's a brother of the other ones. We're in September now. He's 5 months. He doesn't have the muff. He took after his dad. His dad is a full-blooded Gary Gilliam cock. His mom is the black Rampuri, and she is muffed. He got the black spurs, some black on the toes, but he's got the middle toe that's white, and this one's white too. He's got that little bit of white there, like they all do. But he didn't come out muffed. But he's still a really, really nice stag. Anyway, have a good day, everybody.